2 and 2 upgrade. So we are 1 and 1 currently with our main unit. Yeah, you need to just shove things in their face by this time and make sure that you keep the pressure on, because the only thing you need to do, and you can see that here, is just produce more than your opponent. At low levels, all you need to do is produce more than your opponent. It doesn't matter what your tactic is for the rest. All you need to do is just take your army, just A, move into their base, build a new army, A, move into their base, build a new army, A, move into their base. And every time you do that, you can build more workers, build more expansions. Because people at this level are not going to play like the pros. They can't just focus on multiple locations. You can see it in where he is at the screen. You can see he's mostly focusing on his army. So if there's an attack coming in, he's not going to macro. He's not going to build units. He's not going to build bases. He's not going to scout around the map. And by the way, that other watchtower should have been taken a long time ago, obviously. It takes one Zergling. So why not just send one Zergling to the top watchtower? Sorry, tower. It's a Xel'Naga tower now. It used to be a Xel'Naga watchtower. Finally, we're scouting here. I really don't understand why it took so long. And now he finds a base. If he found his base, I don't know, 15 minutes ago, he would have easily taken out that base. The whole economy would collapse and he would have easily won. He can still easily win. He has doubled the army. I don't really know the... There you go. Army supply, worker supply. There you can see 148 army versus 86 army. And obviously the worker supply is also about 50% higher. So just take that army, shove it in their face. That's what you do. That's why you're playing Zerg. You're playing Zerg because your units are useless one-on-one. They're all just supposed to be in a group and they're supposed to be attacking. They're not supposed to defend anything. You defend by attacking. And by the way, yeah, A moving is fine, but you need to produce a new army. There needs to be a new army coming up, and the income is not high enough for this. There is no gas coming in. 160 gas? Are you kidding me? How are you going to produce anything with that? You need to build. And I'm going to scout around the map now. No geysers taken. 2 geysers taken with a total of 2 workers on them instead of 6. 2 geysers taken with a total of 2 workers on them instead of 6. 2 geysers taken with a total of 0 workers. And this one still has a lot of gas. This one's out, so there's that. But anyhow, there's no production, there's no income. And without income, there is no production, obviously. So what he needs to do is just grab his army and go at this army. Swarm hosts are great against immortals, by the way, because they will take out an immortal in no time at all. Because, well, all of these tiny units, they do tiny bits of damage. And they just take down the shield instantly. And once you get the shield down, pretty easy to take down the rest, right? I mean, look at this. Look, his swarm hosts, they spawn their locusts, and the locusts are just going to take everything out. It is no problem. So, and now you can see there are the observers. So he finds 2 observers. He's not chasing them with his overseer. No. There you go. Finally chasing those. And once they go down, there is no scouting. So just make sure you have that combination of anti-air with an overseer. And I don't care whether that's hydralisks or mutalisks or corruptors or queens. I really don't care. Just group up those 2. You know what the problem with the swarm host is. And by the way, this swarm host has been there the entire game. I don't know what it's doing there, but it's unburrowed. It's not doing anything. And I really don't understand why it's there. He finally has his army in a control group now. Woohoo! Isn't that like the first thing you learn when you start playing this game? Yeah, you have control groups. Just select the units, just control one. Now you have a control group. But also, well, he has his 5 bases on the control group, that's pretty good. But is he really macroing from that? No, he's not. He is just completely focusing on microing his units. What you need to do is just select them and just say attack this. So hold shift, just right click the 2 cannons and then just A move into the rest or something like that. Don't worry about it. Your Zerglings are there to be thrown away. They are expendable. You can just throw them in, it doesn't matter. But hey, whatever, you can do whatever. Yeah, we're still at this impasse. We're just sitting there in the middle with our huge army supply, 114 versus 48. He can just move in, just kill everything. He has 52 workers versus 22 workers. So even though he has no income at all still, I mean 52, that's pretty sad, to be honest. But 52 workers versus 22, it means you're still ahead. So you're massively ahead in income. And if we just look at the income, you can see he has been at 1,000 versus 600 for so long. He's just not producing gas, and that is kind of what's holding him back. If he just had gas, he would have much more of the tanky units, so the good units. A few infestors, more roaches, a few zerglings, and oh, the swarm host is going to bury. Cool. So it's finally doing something. And did you now notice that there are no gas mining thingies? Maybe you did, maybe you did not. I don't know. Keep those gas miners on there. Never take them off. I mean, that is the big problem with, well, with taking them off, is that you're never going to put them back on. Because you're going to forget. And something flew over there. Yeah, you could see it from the fact that his changeling changed into a zealot. So if you want to see whether there's an observer in range, just plop down one of those changelings. It will change into a zealot once it gets into range. And because of that, you can see that it's there, and you can just take it down. Yeah, little tricks there, but yeah, you don't need that. All you need is air defense and an overseer, and just let them loop your army. Just let them protect your army. Just set them to patrol the entire, well, area there, and you should have no problem with that at all, because observers, taking out observers takes like 2 seconds. So it's not like it's a big thing, but it is a big investment for the Protoss player, so he will not want to lose his observers to, well, your silly unit. Finally is going to attack something. He has, oh, he still hasn't selected, well, this is just crazy. He still doesn't have this army set to a hotkey. And now we have Colossi out. And Colossi are, of course, no problem here. He should be able to deal with those, no problem, with some roaches. Or, well, better yet, some anti-air units. The Corruptors would be very good. Because Corruptors can actually take them out, no problem. You just build some Corruptors, you just attack those guys first. Well, they can only attack those guys. So they will take those out, no problem. You don't even have to micro them. Just A-move them over the army, and once they're done, they either die or you pull them back. But it doesn't really matter, because Corruptors are cheap and Colossi are really expensive. So, yeah. Instead, he's going to go for Zerglings and Banelings. But Zerglings and Banelings are really bad against the Colossi. So what you want to do is just get those units that are good against the opponent. Roaches, in this case, would be really good. Roaches are super duper good against those Stalkers, because they are the anti-Stalker unit. I mean, just select one here. You can see 22 damage. Plus, it takes less damage because it's armored, and he still only has armor level 0. So still no Carapace upgrade. But Stalkers are of course going to do extra damage, a little bit of extra damage to them. Because they are Stalkers, and Stalkers have extra damage to Armored, but it's only 4 damage. So, and one of that gets reduced, so it doesn't even matter. And here you can see how bad Zerglings are against those Colossi, and really not getting anything done. He takes out a couple of units, sure, but not really. He's just not getting it done. It takes way too long for him to put pressure on. And by now all of his bases are mined out because he's throwing away units, which is not a problem as Zerg, but he's throwing away units and not getting anything done. He's not getting new bases. He should be at, hang on, he's currently at 5 bases. He should be at 8 bases here. He should have this base, which is a 9 actually. He should have this base, he should have this base, he should have this base, and he probably should have this base as well. Because he has total map control. He has had total map control the entire game. He should also have taken out this base. So it should be 8 bases versus 2. And this base of course can never come up. He can see it coming up. I don't know how he spots this. Oh no, he saw this earlier. So it is actually already up. And finally he's going to take out this base. No, just focus the Nexus. Screw that one probe. Oh my god, just take out the Nexus. So what if you lose that army? This is taking so long. Okay, back to his scam. Okay. We have some locusts just showing up to scout around. But look, there are no scouting units at all in this entire region. So instead of just upgrading Burrow for 100, I believe it's called, it is. Yeah, 100 to 100. So that's like peanuts at this point. He could have had all of his Zerglings just burrow over here after they're done. And wow, all of those Banelings, that's such a waste. He could just burrow them over here with this base. He could see when the probes are back, just unburrow them, kill them all. They're not going to notice that. Then, same goes over here. You can just burrow some Zerglings over here. Same here. Just burrow your units. You know how good burrowed Zerglings are if someone runs over them. Because the problem is he can't get close to the army because, well, there are like Colossi out, and Colossi are really... No! What are you doing? Why are you falling back? What the hell? Oh my god, he's going to lose everything. Oh, finally he does have roaches, by the way. Roaches are going to do very nicely, but... Oh my god, he lost all of those units. He has no scouting going on. No scouting at all. And there is an observer in this, because he just took out one of the creep tumors. And yeah, finally the swarm hosts are actually going to do something. Look, they just take out 3 stalkers. They can freely take out their stalkers, no problem. Here you can see it once again, because he has no overseer. He's going to just lose a swarm host because he has no overseer. Once again, same problem every time. So yeah, this guy is going to go down, and air units are of course awesome against the Colossi because they can't shoot against air, shoot at air. But you know, the few stalkers that are in here are going to do that pretty nicely. They're going to take out all of the air units because there is no support. Build anti-air units against the Colossi. You see it, the pros do it all the freaking time. It's always the same thing. It's not that hard to remember what the best unit is versus another unit. I intentionally didn't use counter because of the, well, Daynime's hate of the word, which I totally share, by the way. There is no real counter, it doesn't matter, but some units are stronger against other units. So, for example here, the Stalkers are way stronger than the Mutalisks, but there are too many Mutalisks at this point to really worry about anything. So he can just take out his entire army as long as he doesn't run into the cannons. And he's going to get his pressure on right now, but look at the difference. Obviously he's going to get that pressure on, because there is nothing going on in this enemy's army. 7 workers and 41 army supply. That's like this. He has no army supply. He's been mined out for the entire game. And still the Zerg player is just sitting back, just doing nothing. Yeah, okay, that was like, oh my god, that was the stupidest comment ever. Zerg best macro race in the game. He did nothing macro-wise. This base is not even taken. He blocked his own base with this creep tumor, and instead of taking it out in 2 seconds, he builds his base over here. He has not mined anything here. This base is not mined out. This base is mined out, finally. And then these two are of course mined out. This one, he hardly begun. So he has 3 bases mined out. And this one, about halfway. This guy has his main... Oh, wait. We can do this. This base is mined out, that's 1. This base is mined out, that's 2. This base, about half mined out, so that's 2.5. So it's 3.5 bases versus 2.5 bases for the entire game. The Protoss should have won this. Should have won this easily. From just a macro perspective. From the perspective of what we saw here, the entire game he was ahead. But he didn't want to pressure it. So, yeah, if you don't pressure, you're not going to win. You're going to go up against players who actually understand what their units need to do, which is attack, and you're going to lose hard. Or you're going to go up against a Terran player who just, sets up his siege tanks over here, and he's going to take out everything that you try to gather up. And then you're going to have to run through the sites or something like that, I don't know. But if you don't attack with Zerg and let people just build up, and that is why Protoss should have won this. If the Protoss player can just build up the entire game, he's going to just move over you with his entire ball of units. It's just that this Protoss player was a total noob, so he really couldn't deal with anything. And finally it turned out that a group of Mutalisks, but that could have been Zerglings as well, or I don't know, Infestors. It doesn't even matter. Brute Lords. It doesn't matter. Anything could have beaten this. Well, I guess Infestors would be kind of... Corruptors would have been kind of weak sauce against the buildings. But just learn which units are good against other units. And I'll even tell you here. Against the Zealots, everything works against the Zealots. It doesn't matter whether you go Zerglings, Swarm Hosts, Mutalisks, Roaches, Infestors, it doesn't matter. Anything is good against that. Against Stalkers, you build Roaches. Not Mutalisks, Roaches. Against the Immortals, you build either Swarm Hosts if you like them, Zerglings if you like those. It depends on what the rest of the army composition is, of course. Anything that can do small amounts of damage is good against an Immortal. Roaches are terrible against Immortals, which is kind of the problem, because, well, if you were already building Roaches to counter the Stalkers, then what are you going to do? And the problem is, Roaches do 22 damage. We saw that earlier. Well, at this point, I guess. But the 22 damage is going to be reduced to 10 for the first 10 attacks. So that is, what, 120 damage that you lose out of the 220 damage. That is a big amount. On the other hand, if you have enough Roaches, it doesn't really matter. But if you just combine Zerglings with Roaches, and you go, you can easily go up against Stalkers plus Immortals. Just send the Roaches at the Stalkers and send the Zerglings at the Immortals. I mean, just set up 2 control groups, just right click whatever unit you want them to attack, and it's easy. Then against the Colossi, you build Corruptors. Corruptors fly. They do anti-air. They are anti-air. They cannot be attacked by anything except for the Stalkers. But the Stalkers, they want to focus other units. They don't want to focus your air units. So you're going to take out those Colossi, no problem. And you're not going to upgrade them into Brute Lords, because Brute Lords are terrible unless you know what you're doing, and you don't, because otherwise you wouldn't be in this level. Then what else do we have? High Templar. Roaches are good against High Templar. It's easy enough. Medefacts, things like that. Flying units. You build either anti-air, or you're going to go for Infestors. Infestors are good against small units, against, well, quick units, and I guess they're good anti-air defense as well, so it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want with Infestors. That's the beauty of Infestors. That's why we see them so often. In general, by the way, we didn't see any Dark Templar, I think. Could have been so good, because there is virtually nothing against that. Well, there are some Spore Crawls. I'm going to see if he has one here. Nope. No anti-air. No anti-air, no detection at all. So yeah, there you have it. It was a pretty bad game all in all, but well, that's how we learn. We learn by seeing how people fail. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Sorry it took so long, but GG.